Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our July Digital Dealer exclusive. Excuse me, I haven't talked quite enough yet this morning. Live this month, we are going to be doing the pet pouches. There are 2 pouches available for this design. So you get both the dog bone and you get the fish. So you have one for a cat and one for a dog in your family. So they are designed to have a little ribbon attached. So it could be attached to a leash. You could attach a D-ring, attach it to a key ring, anything along that lines. So this morning, these designs are 5x7 embroidery hoops. So in the Bernina world, it's just your large oval. We are going to need 2 colors of thread, 1 color to match the project that you are doing. So the colors listed here say teal and black because in the images of your graphic, they are making the bone. I am going to be making the fish here this morning. So I have like an orangey color. And then you will need another color just to stitch some registration marks. It doesn't have to be black, just something as long as you're not using the same color that you were quilting with. Okay. Stabilizer is a light mesh cutaway in the OESD world, which is where we are here at Material Girls. We are using OESD's Polymesh. Okay. And if you have a kit from me, you have or purchase a kit from me, the kit contains fabric to make both the pouches, zippers for both pouches, a ribbon loop for both, and project batting for both. So that is in everything for you in that kit. We are going to take our hoop. We are going to hoop our light mesh cutaway for our project. Just 1 layer. You are going to need 2 layers. This is a double hooping project. So you want to make sure that you get more than 1 hooping ready for you. And if you have 2 hoops of the same size, even better to go ahead and get both hoops ready for you. Okay. In your bobbin thread, we can place neutral color bobbin thread. You are not going to see it. And in the upper thread, you can go ahead and thread whatever color you plan to do your quilting in. So if your project is using the blue or the green or whatever color that you want to use, go ahead and thread the machine with that color. That's the same color we'll use to quilt, to assemble. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the chat box if anybody is joining us and doesn't have a kit, as well as a reminder that the kit does not come with the design. The design is a separate purchase. So make sure that if you don't already have the design as part of our Kimberbell dealer exclusive membership, that you go ahead and purchase the design and the kit. Okay? All right. So we can see here. So I have my oval hoop here with the stabilizer inserted into the hoop. I'm going to open up the appropriate embroidery file on my machine. So if I'm going to do the dog bone, I have the dog bone, and I want to open up part 1. And that is, if you are looking at the design, you can tell in the image that it doesn't contain the zipper portion. So just so you can see here. So this is the file that we want to open first. Again, it is a 2 hooping project. We're going to make the back of the bag, and then we're going to make the front of the bag, and then we're going to attach the 2 of them together. Okay. We need to cut out our fabrics like they are asked for in the instructions. Okay. So in the instructions, they call for fabric 1, and fabric 1 contains your lining, your 2 zipper pieces for beyond the zipper, and then the back of the bag. Okay, just so you can see. Okay, so the back of the bag is designed to be different than the front of the bag, but you do have enough fabric that if you want the back of the bag to be the same as the front of the bag, you have enough fabric to cut that. Okay, and then in fabric 2, which is the front of the bag, you're going to cut 2 3 by 7.5. Now in the kit we gave you a fat 1/8 or a fat 1/16. I did not cut these down to 7.5. It's fine. I just cut the 3 inches in width. As long as it's bigger than 7.5, it's perfect for using scraps. We have a zipper, and then we have a piece of ribbon, and then again we have 2 pieces of project batting. Okay. Let's go on over here to the machine. So I'm going to work through these steps, and then we're going to do the steps. Good morning, Miss Susie, welcome. We're going to run a placement line, okay, for our project. We're going to then place our batting down on top of that placement line. Once the batting is down, we're going to run the next color stop, which is going to tack our batting in place. And then we're going to trim close to the batting. Okay, so let's head over here to the machine. Okay, and well, I thought it was threaded, so let's try that again. So I am doing the fish project here. I chose to do the fish since the images in your instruction show the dog bone. The video here would show you the steps. They are the same steps, just a different step. Oh, thank you, Miss Susie. This is one of the Kimberbell basics. Okay, this is the Kimberbell basic tumbling block that we did the dog bone out of. Good morning, Miss Indy. Good morning, Miss Gina. Okay, so my placement line is down here. I'm going to take my piece of project batting, which is approximately 5 by 7.5. I'm going to place it on top of that placement line, making sure that I cover it all up. If you like, you can tape it in place, but it's not necessary. I'm just going to kind of hold it in place while I run my placement. Once our placement line is done, we can take the hoop off the machine, and we're going to trim the batting away from that placement line. We're going to get rid of that excess batting. We're trimmed close to the line. And then our next step is to decide what you want on the back of your bag. And like I said, in the instructions, in the cutting instructions, they are cutting the back of the bag out of the same fabric that we cut the front of the bag out of. I'm gonna make this one with my outside piece. So again, like I said, in the pattern, this backing is designed to be the same as the linings, okay? I'm gonna do this one different, and I had enough fabric in my kit to make the back of the bag the same as the front of the bag. I am going to place this right side up, covering all of that batting. We are then going to place it on top of that batting, like I said. Well, okay. They give us a back placement line. To be honest, I think you kind of know where you're going to put your placement at, okay? So you can run the back placement line because it is a little bit larger than the batting. So if you are working with a piece of fabric that is, you're squeezing it in there, you can get those. These scissors, the pink scissors, Miss Susie, I will go check to see if I have them online. These are the Pickle Pie embroidery scissors. I'll see if I have some hanging out there. So again, there's our placement line for our fabric. We're going to take and place our fabric right side up over top, covering all of that batting, covering all of that placement line. You can tape it in place if you like. Okay. And we're going to run the tack down. I usually don't tape it. I just kind of follow it along, but be careful to keep your fingers out of the way. Our next thing to do is we're going to want to trim it, but you're not. Do not trim your fabric at this time. Leave it just like it is, okay? And we are going to then run the quilt design, okay? So don't trim. We're going to let it finish the tack down, and then we're just going to immediately start stitching the next color stop, okay? That color stop is going to stitch our quilting into this unit. Now, Miss Indy had asked, do I have a favorite project batting? I don't necessarily. What is in our kits is the Kimberbell project batting. I will use scraps of batting from my quilts, things like that. I wouldn't use anything that was super fluffy, but I don't really have a favorite per se. Miss Susie, I don't have any in stock at the moment, but I will make note. I will see Miss Lisa next week from Pickle Pie, and we'll get some more scissors. They're just one of many pair that I pick up. I collect scissors. So the dog bone is quilted with dog bones, and the fish design is quilted with fish. Okay. Boy, I matched that thread really, really close there. Can't even see it. So if you are going to use the same fabric in the backing as what you're putting on front, it has a print. If you want to see your quilting, you may want to go with a slightly darker thread than what I have done. But So once the quilting's finished, I'll talk about our next step. We're going to change the thread color, okay? That thread color is going to lay placement lines for us. And so we want to be able to see, not really placement lines, excuse me, registration marks. So these will be what we use to use to match the two sections that we're going to stitch. Now, July is a bonus month for Kimberbell Design Exclusive. There is a second design that is part of July, and it is holiday or Christmas themed. I will be doing a live on that project probably at a later date. I'm not quite ready for holiday projects, so we will come back and probably do that in August. So there will be a live for that project. They're little in the hoop cinch sacks. There's 2 of them. They call them Santa sacks. Okay. So, like I said, we're going to change my thread color here, and so that I can run a registration mark that I can see. Okay. And then we're going to run that color stop. And then once the registration marks are complete, we can take our project out of the hoop and trim away just the stabilizer. Okay? Don't trim any of the fabric away from your project. You can see there's like a little mark right here. I think there's 4 registration marks that will get made for each project. So whether it's the dog bone or the fish. Has everyone put a zipper in with their embroidery machine? Because if not, we're going to do that today. The machine is going to do everything. This entire little pouch was made in the embroidery hoop. Put my zipper in, flipped me right side out. I have no raw edges in this project at all. Okay, super cute. Okay, we are putting in our last registration mark. There they are. You can see just little lines right on top of previous lines. You should not see them in the final project. Okay, so we're going to unhoop this. We're going to rehoop our hoop with another piece of stabilizer, and we are going to open the next design. Okay, the other design is going to contain the zipper. Okay, so you'll see when you look at it, you'll see that there is this opening here. That's the zipper file. We are going to hoop again with light mesh cutaway, and we have to do a little bit of prep with some of our fabric. So we have these 2 pieces that are labeled above zipper lining and below zipper lining. They are approximately 3 inches by 7.5. on the wrong side of that fabric, you're going to fold up a 1/2 inch, okay? And we're going to press it. And I'm going to give you a little tip on folding up and pressing for that project. Now, okay, I'll trim that while it's embroidering. That's the front. This is the lining. So typically you'd be standing at the iron and you would be like folding this up and trying to measure as you go along, okay? If you take the measurement that they tell you and double it, okay? So they told us to turn up a 1/2 inch. So I've marked 1 inch up from the bottom. So now when I turn this and I line up my raw edge to the line, that's a 1/2 inch. Okay, and I didn't have to break out any seam gauges or worry about anything measuring all the way across. I can draw one line and then we're going to fold up to that line. Okay, so I'm going to take my lining pieces that are above zipper and below zipper. My iron is heating up right this second. We're going to fold them up a 1/2 inch along one long edge. Okay. So we'll turn those up the 1/2 inch. Okay. All right. We are going to repeat the process again. I've changed back to my orange thread. I'm going to stitch a placement line for my batting. I'm going to place my batting on top. We're going to tack it down and then we're going to trim. Okay. You'll notice that there is a gap here at the top of the dog bone or the fish, okay? Let me see where that gap is on the fish here. Yep, at the top. That we're just going to trim straight across. We're going to trim it out in a little bit, okay? But we're just going to trim that straight across. This is left open. This gap is here so that we actually can unzip our zipper, okay? All right, so back at the machine, we have our stabilizer in the hoop. We opened the second embroidery design and we are going to run our placement line. Okay, there's our placement line. We're going to take our piece of batting, again, place it on top of and tack it in place. You're gonna, and everybody, those of you that haven't done a zipper, it's so easy to be done in the embroidery hoop that you're gonna love it. You're never gonna want to put a zipper in on the sewing machine again. Okay, there is our line here. Oh, while that was working, I went ahead and trimmed the stabilizer, just the stabilizer, away from our previous hooping. Okay, now we can set this to the side. On this one, we are going to trim the batting. And right here at the top where we have that opening, we're just going to come straight across. Do not go inside your dog bone or your fish. Now, once that's trimmed, we are going to put it back on the machine and we're going to run the next placement line. That placement line is going to be our zipper placement that we are going to stitch. Okay, it's just going to stitch us basically a rectangle right down the middle. Now, once we have our zipper on, that zipper placement stitched, we are going to take our scissors and we are going to carefully trim the batting out from inside this rectangle. Okay, not cutting the stabilizer, we're just cutting the batting. Okay. We don't cut this out, our zipper won't be usable, because if that batting is there, when we unzip the zipper, we're going to hit it, we'll run into batting. So we're going to take out the batting, and then we're going to place our zipper. Okay, I need the zipper pull at the top of my hoop. Okay, I want to see the zipper pull, so my zipper's right side up. I'm going to have that up at the top of my hoop. And I am going to tape this in place. Okay, it's centered inside of that opening. You don't necessarily need to center the zipper, because otherwise you have more zipper down here. You can get more zipper pulls, and there's enough zipper here that you could make a small zipper pouch or another project. Maybe not one of these, but depending on how conservative you are with your zipper placement. Okay, so there it is. Zipper is right side up so that I can see my zipper pull. My zipper pull is at the top of my project. I am in the middle of this placement line, or this box that we just trimmed. We are going to return this to the machine and we're going to run the color stop. That color stop is going to stitch right down the left hand and right hand side of our zipper. Okay, got my same thread color in, and we're going to stitch. Yes, conquer that fear. Not being afraid to put a zipper in and a design in the embroidery hoop, specifically if the design is created in that manner. It's not hard. You want to make sure, one, that you're using an all-purpose nylon zipper. Do not try to do this with a metal zipper, okay? Because especially if the design is going to stitch over top of the zipper, that won't be happy. Your machine won't be happy if that's metal, but because it's a polyester or all-purpose zipper, when the design stitches over top of this and stitches through this, it can. But if that was a metal zipper, your machine would not be happy with you. Okay? Now, once our zipper is now attached, okay, it's sewn in, we're going to take and get this tape off. Okay, get it off of here, and we're going to get the two pieces of fabric that are going to be the left and the right hand side of our bag. Okay, but before we do that, again, if we unzipped this, what's in our way? Stabilizer, right? So we need to turn our hoop over to the back. we are going to carefully remove the stabilizer from inside this area. Now, I find a seam ripper the easiest to do, okay? Because one, I can see the tip of my seam ripper through that stabilizer, and then I know I'm not cutting my zipper, okay? I just do, about an inch long, just so I can then get my scissors in there. And then we're trimming that out, okay? Just like that. Don't go all the way past, just at that point of where our bag ends, okay? Now, if we were to unzip this zipper, it actually works, okay? That's an important step. We are going to take one of our front zipper sides here. They call it the above zipper front fabric. I'm going to put this right side down on the left-hand side of the bag pouch, lining up the raw edge of that piece with the right-hand edge of the zipper. Okay, just kind of centering that. Okay, just like that. Because what's going to happen now is it's going to sew us a seam so that we'll be able to fold this back, and that's going to finish this half of the front of the zipper. Okay. All right, so we're going to get that positioned in place. If you like, you can tape it. You don't have to tape it, but we're going to go back to the machine. I'm going to make sure my zipper is pulled all the way up out of the way. And we're going to stitch it in place. Now, what we just did here on the right-hand side, okay, we're then going to fold this back, okay, just like that. We are going to repeat this process now on the left-hand side. So we're going to take our fabric, the other below zipper fabric, place it right sides down, matching up one long raw edge to the left-hand edge of the zipper. Oh, hold on. She skipped. Hold on, I skipped a step. Back up. If you like, you can go ahead and pull this off and iron it. I'm not going to, okay, because the next step is we are going to top stitch this and then hold this down. Sorry. I got excited. Going to tack that in place. Now what we just did on the right, we're going to repeat on the left. Okay? Left-hand side fabric, right side down, lining one long edge up with the left-hand side of the zipper. Sew it in place. Fold it back, right side up. Again, if you want to take it off and iron it, you can. Just be careful when you're ironing that you don't leave your iron too long on top of those zipper teeth. They are nylon, polyester, they will melt. Okay. Okay. We are done tacking that down. We now need to quilt it. So we're going to run the color stop that's going to run the quilting design into both sides of our zipper. It's going to take about 5 minutes to do. And while that happens, I'm going to go and iron my pieces. Have that mark, folding up to that mark. Here's my 1/2-inch fold. Okay. Now that piece has got a finished edge. These are the pieces that are going to go on the back side to cover up the zipper. Now my bobbin monitor is blinking at me. It's been giving me warnings. I'm going to see if I can make it to the end of this color stop. Play a little bit of bobbin chicken here. See if I'm lucky today. Probably not, but we'll see. Have a cat or a dog, but I'm personally thinking about this little zipper pouch. Reminds me of goldfish, and so I think it would be really cute for like a child's diaper bag or snack bag or something like that. And of course it has to be filled with goldfish. Okay, Miss Susie, I will add that suggestion to our, we're going to be starting in the fall another YouTube live series called Awesome Wednesday Embroidery or Amy's Wednesday Embroidery. We haven't gotten a name down yet, but it's going to feature all different embroidery techniques and all my suggestions and do's and don'ts and all of that. So I will add your request to that project. Our design is finished. So we are going to take this off the hoop and we're going to do something to the back side. So we're going to flip the hoop over. Okay. I am going to take those two pieces that I folded over. Okay. And we're going to place it wrong side down, so that folded edge down, and we're going to line it up close to the zipper teeth. I'll show you. I'll pick it up here and show you. 1 second.
I got the cabinet on hand, so I can just kind of push it up the back of the car, right?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for the other side. In the instructions, they have you do one, embroider it, and then do the other. I'm just going to go ahead and put them both on here. Okay, so they're up close to the zipper teeth. So this is the opening of the zipper, right, running down there. So they don't touch, they are close to that. We're going to turn this over, we're going to return it to the machine, and it's going to top stitch here and then re-stitch this section. Okay. All right, that's now stitched. We're going to repeat the process on the left hand side. Top stitch and then stitch that lining piece around. While that's stitching, your next step is going to be your ribbon loop. And so to prep our ribbon loop, we're going to fold it in half. And if you have a right or wrong side to your ribbon, you're going to fold it in half, wrong sides together. And then I'm going to put some tape on it and just hold it like that. Okay? Because our next step is to run a placement line. Now I'm not going to change my thread for this. I'm going to kind of look at where it's going to stitch it because it's just one stop. And so I know that it starts right there and then it's going to end right there. So I can take my ribbon. I want it to come about 1/4 to 1/2 inch above the line. Okay. And then we're going to tape it in place. And then we're going to stitch it in place. Okay. Okay. Now, once we have that stitched in place, we are going to change thread colors because we're going to run placement lines. So let me get my thread changed here. And I'm going to take my tape off. I don't want that on there. Now, before I run the placement lines, the first thing I want to do is take this hoop off, and I want to make sure that nothing folded over in the back side, okay? Because it's really going to be a challenge to, if something got folded over or anything like that, it gets harder to fix it the farther along we go. So anytime you put anything on the back side of your hoop and then return it to the machine, once you've done the step to hold that piece in place, you need to take it off and then verify that it is still flat and nothing folded over. Now we're going to return it to the machine and we're going to stitch the placement lines again. Now that we know everything is good. It's going to stitch those 4 placement lines, matching in the same location, hopefully, as the placement lines that we did on the previous hooping. And once these placement lines are done, I'm going to go ahead and change back to my original thread color. Because they're not necessary anymore. We can go back. I want to make sure that I sew my bag together with the matching color so it blends. And then we're going to take the hoop off the machine and we're going to line up the previous design. So there is what our design looks like. Do not take it out of the hoop. Leave it just like it is. Give me 1 second. We're going to take our quilted bag back that we did in hooping 1. Okay. And we have these placement lines. We're going to turn it over so they go right sides together, and we need to know where to put this so that it lines up. So I'm going to fold it back and line up those marks so that you can see. So I folded it back and I want blue lark to match blue mark. Oh, you know what? I forgot the most important step of this project. At this point, unzip your zipper about 3/4 of the way in. Don't forget that, because if you forget that, your zipper bag won't be a zipper bag. So I'm going to unzip my zipper and now I'm going to match my piece. Okay, so that's there. I'm going to take some tape and use tape to hold that in place. And then I'm going to check this bottom one. Again, making sure that lines match lines. And then we're going to tape this one. Okay, so our fabric is right sides together, lined up, taped in place. We're going to return it to the machine and we're going to stitch the tack down line. That's going to hold that piece in place. Do not panic if it doesn't line up with another line that was already stitched in there. Don't panic over that. I didn't make it to the end of the project. So give me 1 second. Let me put in a new bobbin. So close. 2 color stops from being done. up here. Start again. Once it's tacked in place, you can remove the tape. All right, and we're going to come over here. We're going to take the hoop off the machine. Okay, so again, like I said, don't panic if it doesn't line up with a line. Like here, it's on a line. Here, it's inside the line. And then it's in the middle of the line. Okay, so don't worry about that. That's just to hold this piece down, okay? We are going to turn our hoop over. I am going to trim these thread tails because I don't need them in my way. We are going to take our lining back. That's our other piece of, for me, this orange fabric. And I'm going to place it right sides together over this, okay, so right sides together. I'm going to use the same tape that's currently here to just hold this corners on. And then we're going to return it to the machine and we're going to stitch the final stitch out. Now, just know when you do this final stitch out, there is going to be a section that is not stitched, that is not a boo-boo in the design. You have to have something to be able to turn this project right side out with, okay? So do not panic if you're like, oh my goodness, it didn't stitch everything all the way around. So you'll see that on the fish, it starts at this fin. It's going to stitch all the way around and it's going to leave an opening here. I know, the quilting designs are so cute. Okay, now our design is finished. So we're going to take our design off the machine and we're going to take it out of the hoop. Okay. Get rid of all this tape. So you can see there's the hole. Okay, this is where we're going to reach in and turn our project right side out through. Okay, now we need to trim up our bag. So I'm going to do that from this side, the lining side, because I can see this last seam line, and I'm going to stitch about a quarter, I'm going to cut about a quarter of an inch away from that line all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to start at the point of where our opening is. I'm going to cut right through the zipper tape. Okay. Up and around, right through the zipper tape. Now this is something that I do on any stitch and flip project. Normally you would just like cut 1/4 inch across here. I like to leave my opening a little bit larger so that I have a little bit more to turn, okay? And that will make it a little bit easier to do in that aspect, except I think I may have just cut the hole in that, so I did. So give me 1 second. I need to go sew this without sewing that because I just trimmed it. So pause for a moment. You can watch that while I go. Okay, I did this in a colored thread so that you could see what I did, in case you do the same thing and accidentally trim too close. Happens to me too. So I just stitched my own little line in that general shape. Now I am going to, in this corner right here, I am going to clip into that fishtail corner there. And then I'm going to reach in and very carefully turn this right side out. Now this is what we call a 2-turn project. So do not panic when you turn this and you're like, oh my goodness, I only have my lining. That tail is probably going to be the booger to turn, but that's okay. We'll get it. If I have, yep. Okay, this is an OESD's point and press. I like it because it's not too sharp on the end, and I can use that to kind of poke things and know that I won't poke a hole in it, unless of course I've trimmed too close to the edge. But okay, so there's turn 1. This is where you would then fold all this over and close that up with a hand stitch. Okay, so I would just go to the iron, fold this all in, get it all nice and pressed. But I'll tell you that I didn't do that in the dog one. It's right here on the side. I won't hand stitch this. I will take a piece of double-sided fusible tape. So if you have scraps of Heat and Bond or Steam-A-Seam, I'll cut a piece of that, I'll stick that in there and glue this shut. Okay? I don't like to hand sew it personally. It's on the inside, nobody's gonna see it. And then we're going to turn this through the zipper right side out. Okay. Just get those started. And then use your point and press to get in there and poke it out. And I would not, if you're going to glue it shut, do not glue it shut until you've turned it right side out completely. And if you do glue it shut, you need to let it sit for a while and cool and dry before you turn it. But for me, turning it right side out completely first is going to help me know where I need to fold things over, okay? Because it takes into account some of the excess that's there. And then you have your fish pouch. Give it a good press. So we have a fish and a dog. For your animal friends, animal lovers, perfect for holding dog treats. Can also hold, you know, poop bags. If you're out on a walk, at least it's something cute to hang there as well. So that is your dealer exclusive design for July, or at least the first of 2 dealer exclusive designs. Oh, thank you, Miss Sherry. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I hope that you had a nice morning, are ready to tackle your In the Hoop zipper project, okay? And it's not hard. Just follow your instructions. Kimberbell does the best at giving us step-by-step instructions, pictures for each step. And if you have any questions about this project, please feel free to reach out to us here in the comment section below. Also make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel, and that way you get postings and notifications when we're going to do more. And I will be back in August to do the August dealer exclusive, as well as doing the bonus dealer exclusive from this month, which is the cinch sacks from Santa. Well, I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you again for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for chatting with me in the chat. Makes me feel a little less like I'm talking to myself. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. Hope you had a fabulous 4th, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.